Hi and welcome. My name is Kristen. You can find me on Instagram as Skein Yarn and on Ravelry as K10, that's K10. Hope you're all doing really well. Hope you had a lovely Christmas and New Year. I can't believe it's almost February. Time has flown. I did have a look at, a very quick look at my last notes on the podcast, and there were a couple of things that I think I might have spoken about, but I've finished. I wasn't quite sure. Anyway, I'm just going to start again and we'll take it from there. I've got lots to talk about, so yeah, let's get started. The Traveller Shell by Andrea Mowry. I knit this for Paul's mum for Christmas, so I actually don't have it with me. I'll put a picture of the pattern up. So it is basically a boxy cardigan knit from the top down. It is very, very simple to knit. It has a lovely sort of corrugated rib sort of pattern, mixture of garter stitch and stockinette stitch. Lovely to knit, like very, very relaxing. You probably all know it because not only was the Traveller's Shell released, but soon after there was a Traveller's Shawl and a Traveller Cowl. So there's quite a few designs with the same stitch pattern. But yes, it's got lovely big pockets, which in the end I didn't end up knitting, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Yeah, so it's knit using a fingering weight yarn, and I chose to use our ACM, which is a fluffy alpaca, merino and cotton. So what happened was we had Paul's parents over in October, I think it was, and Sue had mentioned that she wanted a cardigan if possible. And I said I would knit her one for Christmas, and luckily enough it was the same time that this cardigan had come out, and I was wanting to knit it for myself. But what she was after was something that was quite lightweight, that she could just throw on, take with her. So if she was traveling, she could take it on and off and put it in a bag, so it was light, didn't take up too much space in a bag. So yeah, I showed her the Traveller's Shell and she really liked it. Because it is a great layering piece. It does have short sleeves. Well, no, it's not 3/4. It's sort of like sleeves that come to the elbow. So yes, it's really nice. You could wear it in winter, autumn, spring, summer, whenever. Yes, so she had mentioned that she wanted. She'd mentioned that she wanted it to be lightweight. So I straight away thought of our ACM yarn, which is still warm, but it is very light because it's got the cotton content in it. So that's what we went with. She chose the colour Fog, which is it's an interesting colour because with this base it dyes up to be kind of a cool grey with a warm grey overtone. On our other colours, on our other bases, it dyes up to be more of a cool grey. It's really strange. This yarn base does dye up a lot differently to our others. Anyway, she knew that because I'd already dyed it and I could show her in person the colour. So I cast that on. I only had, I think it was about 3 weeks to knit it, maybe less than that. I was really knitting hard every night trying to get it done really quickly. And what ended up happening was the pockets did not get done because I ran out of time, but also I wasn't too concerned about the time because she knew that I was knitting it for her and she wasn't concerned if it was going to be there for Christmas, so I could have sent it later. What I was a little bit worried about was that the pockets might have been a little bit bulky for her. When I looked at the pictures, they are quite big and they sort of, what's the word for it? They sort of stretch out a little bit, and I wasn't sure whether she would like that. They're also sewn on pockets, which I could, if I had have had time, maybe thought about how to make them fit a little bit better. Not that they don't fit well in the pattern, I mean that's the way it's meant to be in the pattern, but I was thinking if I were sort of a little bit more I guess streamlined into the cardigan so they didn't sort of bulk out, it would have been better for Sue. Anyway, I didn't really have time, but also I was thinking I could put all this work into it and it not work anyway, and the cardigan looked really nice as it was. In fact, I tried it on and I thought I don't think I would want pockets either, so I ended up just leaving it, and I'm glad I did because she absolutely loved it and it was great. What I have been working on is I've got 3 things to show you. One of them I think I might have spoken about in the last podcast, which is the Daydream Sweater by Veera Valimaki. I've sort of been working on this on and off, but I have actually done quite a lot. So the pattern itself is a top-down sweater, and it's knit in a fingering weight yarn. It has a lace yoke and a brioche body, or is it modified brioche? Anyway, it's lovely to knit. I've really enjoyed it. So I decided to use the ACM yarn again myself. I'm sort of really like this yarn. It's really nice to knit. Like I said, it's quite lightweight, but it's still quite warm and it's fluffy, and I love fluffy yarns. This is going to be really lovely for autumn, so I'm hoping to get that done in the next month, which I'm sure I'll be able to finish it by then. This is it. The colourway is our blue jeans colourway, and that's the front. It's been squashed up in my project bag, so it's looking a little bit wrinkled. But yeah, as you can see, there's a lace yoke which will block out nice once it's blocked. It's looking a bit ho-hum at the moment, but it will block out really nicely. And that's the brioche body. So yeah, really enjoying it. I don't really have a lot to say except that I'm just picking it up and knitting. I always like to get my top-down sweaters to a point where I'm knitting the body, because normally for me, when I do top-down sweaters, they usually have either some sort of textured yoke or colour work yoke or lace yoke. So once that's finished and I've separated for the body, it's usually either stockinette stitch or a simple brioche or whatever. And yeah, so what I can do then is I sort of race through the yoke and then get it to the body, and then I put it down and I start something else, because I know I can just come back to it whenever I need to and start working on it. So that's what I'm doing with this one. I'm just sort of putting on rows every now and again. But yeah, I'm really enjoying this one. So my next cast on is the Ironwork Tee by Dianna Walla. And I might have actually mentioned this in another podcast. I think I might have called it was in the dream knitting section. But I've had my eye on this pattern for a while and I really love it. It is, I'll put a picture up, it's a bottom up pattern this time, bottom up tee, with a lovely colour work, very simple colour work section at the bottom. And then you work your way up to the underarms, and then from there on it's just plain knitting. So yeah, I love that bottom section. It's visually lovely, and I don't think I actually have knit a colour work sweater with colour work at the bottom. It's usually on the yoke, so this is a little bit different for me. So I'm using our Merino Silk Sport in the colours Cocoa Bean and Tequila. And this is what it's looking like now. So that's the colour work section down the bottom, and I have finished the back section and I'm working on the front, but it's really hard. Once you finish the color work, you separate for the top, then you're working the back separately, and then you work the front. So it's kind of hard to show you without losing stitches, and I don't want to lose stitches. But the pattern itself actually is knit using fingering weight yarn, but our sport weight is a thicker, it is a sport weight, but it can be used for fingering weight projects as long as you get the gauge right. And I have gone down a needle size to what they recommend. But yeah, it's working up beautifully. It's a very, very oversized tee, which is perfect for here. I don't think I'll be wearing this until autumn, which is great because summer here, it's been so hot. We've had a heat wave. So wearing knitwear is, it's just kind of impossible. And actually I'm really quite hot in what I'm wearing. But anyway, this will be lovely for autumn. So it's short sleeves and I don't have a lot to go. I'm actually working on the shoulders now. And then once I join the shoulders, it's just picking up for the sleeves, doing a rib around the cuff and then a rib around the neck, and then I'm done. So I'm almost there. But yeah, it's looking quite nice. I'm enjoying this. I was a little bit concerned when I first started the color work that the Tequila, which is the lighter color, wasn't popping, but I think it's fine. So yeah. So my last cast on is the Daily Pullover by Purl SoHo. And this is another pattern that I've had in my queue for ages. It's very simple, top down V-neck sweater. There's like a ton of people who have made this sweater. You could easily substitute, it is actually fingering weight yarn, but you could actually substitute it and make it a little bit of a oversized sweater by using sock weight or fingering weight yarn with mohair silk lace, which I've thought about doing too. But yeah, it's really, really simple pattern. And last year, at the end of last year, I started getting into assigned pooling yarn, which I'm not sure if I spoke about assigned pooling, but if I haven't, I will talk about that in another podcast. But it's basically highly variegated yarn, and when you knit it, you can actually use the semi-solid portion of the yarn to do certain stitch patterns that assign the pooling to a stitch pattern. It's kind of a bit mind-blowing if you don't know what I'm talking about. If you understand, you understand the concept, but I won't get into it now because it's just a bit too much to talk about. But so I started doing the assigned pooling colors, and then I decided I wouldn't mind seeing what it looks like if you just knit it and you didn't do assigned pooling, that if you just let the pooling happen as it happened. So I chose the Daily Pullover by Purl SoHo because it's a very simple sweater that I could have some pooling yarn, highly variegated yarn, and yeah, it's just basically a canvas for the yarn. So this is what it's looking like. As you can see, it's pooling, which is, I knew that was going to happen, and it's quite interesting actually. So this is the pumpkin patch colorway, and these orangey areas, if you were doing assigned pooling, that's the sections that you would put into a stitch pattern that would sort of make them clump up together. I don't know how to explain it, but in this they're just pooling. So my plan is, I have also dyed a skein, or a couple of skeins that just have the speckled, so none of this orange. So I'm going to use that to knit the neckline, and then the hem and the sleeve cuffs. So they won't have the pooling in it, so they'll just be plain. Anyway, it was just sort of an experiment that I decided, this is the back, that I decided I wanted to try. And yeah, it's coming up quite nicely. So for my whips, this one I have been working on for quite some time. This is the Untangled Crop by Olga Putano. I spoke about this in the last podcast, I'm pretty sure I did. So it's a top-down colourwork sweater. It has colourwork yoke and then colourwork in the body as well. I'm not going to be doing the colourwork body, I'm just going to have the colourwork yoke and then plain body. This is it. It is knit using a DK weight yarn, and I'm using our Cocoon base, which is alpaca, silk and merino, I'm pretty sure. It's lovely and soft. It has a hint of a halo, which I absolutely love. And I'm using actually that's it there, hang on, that's the front. I'm using golden peach, big teal, I'm pretty sure that is sea glass, and marigold. And I have like one repeat left to do of the color work, and then I split for the sleeves, and it's easy peasy body, which is just going to be this teal color. I really want to get this done. It's way too hot to be even touching this at the moment. Same with the Veera Valimaki sweater, it's a bit too hot for that as well. That's why I cast on for the Ironwork tee, because it is merino silk and it's lovely and cool to work with. So once the temperature starts to go down a little bit, I will be picking this up because I really want to finish this for winter. It's lovely. She's actually working on another design which she showed on Instagram, and it had this lovely color work yoke. So it's a new pattern she's working on, and I'm really quite keen to see more of that. But she has lovely patterns, lots that I've added to my queue. So yeah. So I do have an upcoming project, and I am going to be knitting yet another Daydreamer crop. This will be my third, but this time I've decided to use a boucle yarn. So if you don't know what a Daydreamer crop is, I'll put a picture up of the pattern. It's very, very popular pattern by Caitlin Hunter. It's one of those very quick color work knits. It's cropped. You can make the body longer if you wanted to, but I do like wearing my sweaters cropped anyway. But yeah, it's got a really easy, very relaxing to knit color work yoke, and yeah, every single one of the ones that I've made I've worn and I love them, so I'm going to be trying it with these boucle yarns. So these are actually still wet because I've just dyed them up. So boucle is obviously this kind of loopy, very highly textured yarn. I've never ever tried to do color work with boucle. I don't even know if this is going to work. It may not. It might be a complete disaster because boucle is really hard to unpick if you make a mistake. So we shall see how we go, but I've decided to do this as the collar, which is big teal. I've got tequila, pink salt, which will be for the body, and then cocoa bean. I'm hoping that these will be contrasty enough. I'm sure once I start knitting it, it'll be fine. Anyway, I think it'll be okay. But anyway, we shall see. I'm really keen. I can't wait to cast on because I've been dreaming about doing it in knitting the Unraveled Crop in a boucle yarn. It will be interesting to see what the colour work looks like with this kind of loopy, highly textured yarn. So yeah, like I said, it may be a complete disaster, but it might not. It might actually work. So I can't wait to show you more. I am hoping to cast this on very soon. The Ironwork tee I will be finishing, I would say, in the next day or two. I don't have much to do on that, so yeah, I'm going to be caking these yarns up soon and casting them on, and yeah, hopefully next podcast I'll be able to show you some progress. Before I go, I wanted to mention what I'm wearing. This is the Duet tee, which is a design of mine. It's been folded up in my cupboard and it is a little bit creased, unfortunately, but this is knit using our Daintree yarn. This is an older colour, pink tourmaline, and this is a colour that I've just bought back, which is pure gold. It's very simple, easy, quick knit. I shall put the link in the pattern below, and of course all the links to everything that I've talked about, all the patterns and the yarns and whatever, I will put in the description below. So yeah, I hope you're all doing really well. I will be doing another podcast sooner rather than later, and yeah, keep well and happy knitting, and talk to you soon. Bye.